Hello, friends. So since the beginning of phase 2 in our state, which allows for a little more flexibility in social gatherings, my sweet little Matthew was able to have his kindergarten graduation. But it had to be held outside, and on this day it was cold, windy, and rainy. Ugh. And as I was getting dressed, I was spending way too much time trying on clothes. And it was in this moment that I was being faced with some really harsh consequences that my nutrition during quarantine has been horrible. And I was starting to get pretty down and disgusted with myself. Now, sidetrack just for a moment. Recently, I have been seeing some really encouraging posts on social media about choosing joy. Okay, it's a great phrase. Okay, and I think everyone would probably agree that choosing joy is a really good choice. But what does that even mean? I mean, really, what does that mean? Because joy, by definition, is like this feeling of great pleasure and happiness. So tell me, how do you choose joy when your pants don't fit? I mean, really, because this is a real life moment. And I tell you, there were absolutely zero feelings or emotions of great pleasure and happiness, nor could I muster up the strength to choose those emotions. And then I look up and I saw this on my dresser. And this is a little note from my oldest son, Isaac. And this was not prompted by Mother's Day. This was purely from his own heart. And one of the things that he says in this is, "You are so pretty and beautiful. And I'm so lucky to have a mom like you." I actually want to reframe the phrase choose joy. And instead, I want to say treasuring joy. You see, joy is this precious and rare treasure because it is so hard to come by. And actually, there's this passage in scripture that I want to share with you, and it's found in Matthew chapter 6. And it says, "Do not store for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and thieves break in and steal. But instead, store for yourselves treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not destroy and thieves break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." You see, our hearts are intimately connected with treasure. And I want to say that one of the greatest treasures that we have in our life is our relationships. See, our relationships and our friendships, they're not about us, but it's all about the value someone else has and that they bring that value to your heart because of who they are. And I want to say that this is actually how the Lord views you. Because before the beginning of time, there existed this perfect, unified relationship. Okay, and you were created out of that relationship. Okay, so you have value and worth because you were created purely from the heartfelt love of God. You are God's treasured possession. And so in situations where it is difficult to muster up the great pleasurable and happy emotion, I want you to think about going on a treasure hunt. Okay, and when you're on a treasure hunt, there are going to be lots of obstacles and distractions. However, if you are willing to stop and look around a little bit, you're going to see that there's also a lot of little clues. You just have to know how to recognize them. See, because in that moment that I was trying on my clothes, my pants were definitely making me feel very fat and ugly. And yet, there was this little clue sitting right in front of me. Okay, and as I read it, I start to see that my 11-year-old son holds a belief about his mama that is contradictory to the belief my emotions were screaming at me. So tell me, who is more trustworthy in this moment? My emotions that were causing me to downgrade my value, or this belief that my son has about the value that I bring to his heart? Okay, so joy is not knowing the answer to that question. Okay, the answer is actually quite obvious. And this clue isn't necessarily joy either, but joy in this situation was a decision that I made to reposition my heart to be in alignment with the heart of my son, regardless of what I was feeling. The decision to realign my moment perspective is what led me to joy. Because this here clue is definitely going to be something that I will be treasuring for a very long time. Joy doesn't change my circumstances though, okay? My pants, they still don't fit. But see, treasuring joy gives me something else to focus on, okay? And it releases me from this self-sabotage that reminds me that, I must be doing something right in the midst of always feeling like I'm failing as a mom. This proves otherwise. And besides, this was Matthew's day, okay? And I was making this all about me. And I tell you, the graduation was actually really fun. And the smile on my son's face was just so adorable. My heart is properly aligned. It also gives me a better headspace. And then I can start implementing a plan of action to take care of the circumstances that I don't like, which in this case is to start addressing my nutrition and increasing my exercise routine, okay, of which I have already started, and I'm actually excited about it too, because I understand my reasonings for why I'm doing it. I hope that this brought some encouragement for you, and if it did, please share it with somebody. And I also want to invite you to join me on this little treasure hunt of finding and treasuring joy. There is a lot happening all around us in this world. A lot of questions that would beg, what in the world is there to be joyful about? Well, a lot, actually. You see, just like eating one healthy meal and doing one good workout won't make you healthy, one moment of joy doesn't make you joyful either. You see, joy is a lifestyle. It's about understanding its present value and then taking action steps towards developing a joyful mindset that will help you shift your perspective with whatever life is throwing at you in that moment. And there are all kinds of clues all around us that can help us. And I feel that it is my mission in life to help you decipher and discover those clues. And so, your action step for today is to help shift your perspective off of yourself. And I want you to help someone else shift their perspective as well. And so I want you to take a moment and I want you to write down, yes, physically write it down with a pen onto paper. And I want you to write an encouragement note to someone who is on your heart. Okay, and then I want you to hand deliver it, or better yet, send it in the mail. Some good old-fashioned joy mail. Give someone else a little clue that they can treasure. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you again here very soon.